Weapons of mass destruction. The dwarves' thinkers gathered in their secret chamber, their faces etched with concern. They had reached a critical juncture in their journey, and the fate of their creations hung in the balance. "We must decide wisely," said Durin, the eldest and most respected of the dwarves' thinkers. "Our weapons are powerful beyond measure, and they could be used for great good or great evil. It is up to us to ensure that they fall into the right hands." The other dwarves' thinkers nodded in agreement. They knew that the decision before them was fraught with peril, but they were determined to make the right choice. "Perhaps we should destroy our creations altogether," suggested one of the dwarves' thinkers. "It would be the safest option." "But what if they fell into the wrong hands anyway?" countered another. "It is better to keep them safe and secure, where we can control them." The debate raged on, with each dwarf thinker offering their own perspective. Some argued for keeping the weapons hidden, while others believed that they could be used for good, if only they were in the right hands. Finally, after hours of deliberation, the dwarves' thinkers reached a decision. They would keep their weapons hidden, but they would also create a safeguard. If the weapons ever fell into the wrong hands, they would self-destruct, preventing them from being used for evil. The dwarves' thinkers set to work on their safeguard, and soon they had devised a foolproof system. They created a special key that was required to activate the weapons, and they entrusted the key to a council of wise and trusted individuals. The dwarves' thinkers knew that their decision was not without risk. But they also believed that it was the best way to ensure that their creations were used for good, rather than for evil. In the years that followed, the dwarves' thinkers continued to innovate and create new weapons. But they never forgot the safeguard they had put in place. They knew that they had a responsibility to use their knowledge wisely, and they were determined to prevent their creations from falling into the wrong hands. One day, a dark shadow fell over the kingdom. A warlord named Gorg had risen to power, and he was determined to conquer all. Gorg had heard rumors of the dwarves' thinkers' weapons, and he was obsessed with obtaining them. Gorg sent his armies to attack the dwarves' stronghold, but the dwarves were prepared. They had built a formidable fortress, and they were armed with the most advanced weapons in the kingdom. Gorg's armies laid siege to the fortress for months, but they could not break through the defenses. The dwarves' thinkers used their weapons to repel every attack, and they inflicted heavy casualties on Gorg's forces. Finally, Gorg realized that he could not defeat the dwarves by force. He resorted to treachery and deceit. He sent spies into the fortress, and they eventually bribed a few of the dwarves to betray their people. One night, Gorg's forces launched a surprise attack on the fortress. The traitors opened the gates from within, and Gorg's army poured in. The dwarves fought bravely, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. The dwarves' thinkers fought to the last man, but they were eventually overwhelmed. Gorg captured the dwarves' thinkers and their weapons, and he gloated over his victory. Gorg was now the most powerful warlord in the kingdom, and he had the dwarves' thinkers' weapons at his disposal. He began to prepare for his final conquest, the conquest of the entire world. But Gorg's victory was short-lived. As soon as he took possession of the weapons, the safeguard that the dwarves' thinkers had put in place activated. The weapons self-destructed, and Gorg was killed in the blast. With Gorg's death, the war ended. The kingdom was saved, thanks to the foresight and wisdom of the dwarves' thinkers. In the aftermath of the war, the dwarves' thinkers vowed to never create weapons of mass destruction again. They had learned a valuable lesson, that power must be used responsibly, or it can easily lead to destruction. The dwarves' thinkers continued to use their knowledge for good, but they never forgot the dangers of unchecked power. They became guardians of knowledge, and they dedicated their lives to teaching others the importance of responsibility and compassion. The story of the dwarves' thinkers is a reminder that we must all be careful with the power that we possess. We must use our knowledge and abilities wisely, for the good of all.